Hi, I'm Jordan, your host of Enriched Academy. In this section, we're going to walk you through some of the most important wealth-building activities you'll ever undertake. Jay Seabrook, Enriched Academy co-founder, will be leading you through this section. Jay bought his first investment at age 16, and since then, he has had a similar wealth-building trajectory as Kevin, going from less than $0 net worth to over 8 figures by age 40. First, we're going to look at net worth, what it is, and how to track it going forward. This activity is vital to understanding where you are right now and to help ensure that you're headed in the right direction financially. Next, we're going to help you see exactly how much of your income you need to save in order to meet your financial goals. And lastly, we're going to dive into the key spending mistakes made by Canadians, and most importantly, show you how to create a rock-solid plan to ensure your spending is on track with a personal budget. Completing the steps in this section will be decisive to your wealth-building journey.
A lot of us have heard this quote before. You can't improve what you don't measure. Peter Drucker quote, it's so true. He's one of the great business minds of the 20th century. You look at businesses, and when you're in a small business, you don't track that much. But if you look at bigger businesses, and as you grow in a business, you get more sophisticated, you track a lot more, because that's how you get better and sharper, and it gives you an advantage on your competition. Look at sports. Like, this is a 1986 baseball card. And sports didn't used to track that much. Major League Baseball only tracked about 12 different stats. That was it. Here's a look at what MLB baseball tracks today. Over 87 different stats. There's teams that track over 1,000 different stats where they have a whole staff just focused on running the numbers. We're not saying you got to get that sophisticated, but you should have a financial report card. And that's what this is, because we'll work like the next 40 or 50 years, right? Depending on who you are. We'll work 8 hours a day, and that's all that we do. And why do we do that? Is to make money. But if we're not focused on this number right here, it's hard to know if all that energy, effort, everything that you're doing, is it actually working, getting you where you need to go. So first thing, tracking your net worth naturally causes your net worth to grow. Anything you focus on tends to expand. The next thing is, once you create the habit of doing this, it gets really, really addictive and productive to do it. And it's very easy to do.
Your net worth is a valuation of your assets minus your liabilities. So what you own, subtracting what you owe. I think calculating your net worth is a great way to track your financial progress, as well as see if you're on track to retire.
Financially speaking, net worth means all your assets minus your liabilities, whatever your portfolio of assets might be. So that would include cash, stocks and bonds, any equity in your house would be your net worth financially.
You don't need to tell anyone your net worth. You don't put it on a t-shirt. You don't have to shout it to the world. It's not a citywide contest. Use it as a benchmark for your own financial success.
You can see how this works. Now, guys, this is not a complicated thing to do. On the left-hand side, you would track all assets, right? And that would be things like your deposit accounts, your bank accounts, that would be your investments, that would be your real estate mortgages, any other assets that you have. So you would add that all up. On the right-hand side, you have all your liabilities. So again, that would be anything you owe money on, basically. Pretty straightforward. You subtract your assets from your liabilities, there's your net worth. It's going to come up with it for you. When we track our net worth, we actually use this historical net worth. So you'd be able to click on that and actually just punch your number in. We don't track everything. We're not updating our investments accounts every month. We'll do that quarterly. Like, we'll get our financial statements from our advisors, usually every quarter. Our real estate values, we'll update that once a year. Our real estate mortgages usually once a year, but we still update this thing once a month. And so when you click on that historical net worth, it's going to show you what happens. And guys, I can tell you the first time that we did this, it kind of hurt a little bit. This can be a little painful, and that's okay. It's better to have a little bit of pain and get a handle on this than to kind of ignore it. You really, truly realize that wealth building really is like a marathon, and it's not a sprint. What I found is I got a lot smarter about what I was doing every single month. When I looked at this, I was like, man, maybe that trip to Vegas, where I left at 2 o'clock in the morning spontaneously after a night of partying, maybe that wasn't a good choice, right? You start looking at the things you're doing right, and you're like, hey, maybe we're going to buy another investment property, because this thing, look what it's doing for our net worth. philosophy that's so important is just to get in the habit of paying yourself first. Wealthy people do this. They always carve out some of their income every single month consistently, goes right into savings. Whereas people tend to live a lot of their life kind of paying other people, and then they try to save whatever's left over, which is usually not awesome. If you look back in the last 50 years in Canada, the peak of the best that we ever did saving money was in 1982. We saved 22%. Now, today, we're at about 4%. So this just shows most people pay other people first, right? Which is what we're trying to change.
I'm not very financially savvy, I'm afraid, I have to be honest.
A lot more than they used to.
Try and put away 10%.
A few grand every month.
I would say 25.
If you start, what,
If
at
you
16?
if you start young.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Minimum recommended saving and investing is 10%. We've all heard this before. This would be the absolute bare minimum. And here's how you want to make this work. You want to have two different bank accounts. You want to have a checking account. You want to have a high interest savings account. Does anyone here have a high interest savings account? Does anyone have a checking account? Does anyone here have both? Awesome. Does anyone here have no idea what you have? Okay, like go to the bank and figure it out, get the two set up. And the beauty of this is that you're just gonna make it automated. So you're gonna plug a number in, and you can set this up online where it just happens every month. So any income you would have would come in, and it would just automatically take the money to your high interest savings account. When you log in, it's the coolest thing because the account starts to grow, and it's actually this nice little surprise when you start doing this, right?
It's important to automate it because, number one, we tend to spend money first and save what's left. And at the end of the month, there might not be that much left, or at the end of the week. So if we make savings our top priority and have it as really, it's a bill that we're paying to ourselves, and it comes right off the top of whatever money that you're receiving in your account or on a monthly basis. That makes it a priority for you, and it means it won't be left behind or it won't be wiped out by other priorities that you have.
Some rules of thumb say that you should save at least 10% of your pre-tax income, but that is a random figure for anybody. And so I think it's more important that you look at your own situation, because it really depends. How much should you save for the future? Well, how old are you? What are your expenses? What are you saving for? It's important to know how much you need to save, because how can you hit a target if you don't know what you're aiming for? Having a specific number for you that is going to meet your priorities will relieve so much stress, because then you're not thinking, oh, how much should I be saving? Should I be saving more? And then it's going to also take the guilt out of spending, because then you're not thinking, oh, I can't be buying this because I need to be saving more money for this other thing. Once you take care of your other priorities, that frees you up to spend on the things that you would like to spend on.
Now, I want to address something. It's this just save 10%. Guys, and we want that badly to be true. But sorry, I'm just going to tell you right now, it might be BS. So how much do you really need to save? So we actually built this calculator. You can run your own numbers on this calculator because everybody's different depending on where you are right now. You punch in whatever you think your average investment rate would be. I'm going to be conservative here. I'm going to say 6%. You put in your age now. So I'm 40, so I'll just put my own age in there. The age you want to retire by, and let's just say it's 65. I'm going to work for 25 more years. And how many years will you be retired for? Right? So, hey, let's be optimistic, right? I'll say 90 years old. The current amount saved, you just plug that in there. So let's just say I have 100,000 saved right now. And what's my average annual income? I would put that in there. And then how much income do I want to have each year after I retire? So then you put that number in right here. Total saved and invested at retirement, it's going to calculate these last three numbers for you automatically. And you can see in this scenario, I actually need to start saving 24% of what I make if I actually want to hit that goal and not work until I'm 90.
It's really important to know how much you need to save monthly, because you need to know how you're going to live, how you're going to retire. The sad fact is that 15% of Canadians think that they will never be able to pay their debts off. Right now, today, a study done by the Financial Planning Standards Council for seniors shows that 13% of them think that they will never be able to afford to retire. You have the opportunity watching this to change that, to retire when you want to have the life that you want to in the future, but it's going to come with not sacrifice, but choice and awareness. If you think of yourself right now, this part of your brain lights up. If you think of a stranger, this part of your brain lights up. Here's the problem of saving for yourself in the future. Remember, this is you. If you think of yourself in 20 years, the stranger part of your brain lights up. Why would you want to save for a stranger? Of course you don't. Our brain is hardwired for instant gratification. You need to get literate. You need to employ nudges like automatic savings and things of that sort, because your brain is hardwired for you to spend and have fun now and not do it for that future you. But once you start to connect with your future you, think about your future you, what you'll be doing and what you'll want to afford, that helps you build a relationship to stop that danger stranger part and connect with that part of you that you one day want to have the money for.
All of us get behind. All of us can trip up and mess up when it comes to our finances. The key here is not to beat yourself up over the failures, because it's past, it's gone. If you can't meet your goals, maybe your goals are too lofty. So see if you can break your goals down into mini bite-sized goals, things that you can tackle maybe per week. If you need peer support, then get your friend involved. See if the two of you can do like a savings goal together. Or if you need a group of people to join, say, a investing group, try to get as many people involved as possible. That will fire you up to achieve your goals.
Some of the key activities that you can do to get back on track is to start online banking. I think that's always good to be checking your banking statements on a regular basis, not wait for something to come in the mail or not wait till the end of the month, but do it every day and just see what money's going in, what money's going out. Also start tracking your expenses, get a sense of where the money is going, and then put together some kind of a list of where you're spending money on a monthly basis. For many people, that's enlightening. They're not realizing how much they're spending on eating out or gifts or insurance, for example. Maybe they're overinsured. And then once you have that all together, look at the categories where you think you're paying too much and start calling those suppliers and saying, can I get a better plan? Banking, telecom, insurance, heating. Call them all and say, do I have the right plan? Can I save money? Do you have ways for me to save money? Maybe you have something new that I haven't heard about yet. And then if they're unresponsive, start looking around, switch your suppliers, find other suppliers, or find a better deal online and then go back to your current supplier and say, I'd really like to get this better deal. I can leave, but I'd rather stay here. So what are you going to do to keep me as a client? And that usually works. In fact, they expect you to do that. And if you're not doing it on a regular basis, you're probably paying too much.